Welcome to Quantum Revenue Expansion, where we keep you motivated, inspired, and thinking big. Up-leveling into quantum revenue is a choice that we can all make in any moment, and then continue to make that choice to stay in that space each day. On this podcast, Ursula will share revenue growth strategies to reach your next level and introduce you to CEOs just like you who are making it happen. What's your next quantum leap going to be? See it, own it, and take that first step. If this is you, then Ursula wants to invite you to join us at the next 2X Intensive now. Go to salescoachnow.com/apply. You are listening to Quantum Revenue Expansion with your host, Ursula Menchez. Let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Quantum Revenue Expansion, the podcast. Super excited to have you back with us today. And you're going to love my guest. Melissa Swink is with us. We're going to be talking about scaling your business beyond your own capacity. Let me say that again. Scaling your business beyond your own capacity. In other words, you can't do it alone. Why would you want to? Wouldn't it be fun to collapse time and get there even faster? So we're going to talk about all of that today. So Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. It's been amazing watching the evolution of your business and your business growth and you growing as a CEO. So I know you're going to be super inspiring to our listeners today and to our listeners all over the world. We love you. We're so glad you're here with us, and definitely grab a pen, a notepad. You're going to take some notes, I'm sure of it, during this time today, and really listen for, what resonates. Even if you take away one or two things that you can implement immediately in your business, it's going to make a big difference in terms of the domino effect and starting to move things forward. Before we get to Melissa, though, really quickly, if you haven't yet, go to ursulainc.co, Quantum Revenue Expansion, the Masterclass. It's on my homepage, super easy to download our free course. And I do three things. One, you get to create your brand new quantum revenue container to turn your annual income into your monthly income. So if you're like, I don't know how to do that. And we're going to talk about how Melissa's doing that right now. If you want to do that for yourself, this course is for you. Second, we're going to talk about how to up-level your pricing, packages, and marketing. And third, I'm going to show you how to collapse time and reach your quantum revenue goal even faster. So you just go to ursulainc.co, and it's right there. I made it super easy. It's literally right on the homepage. So you can just put your information in and get the free class. From there, I have to tell you, the journey of the 2X Intensive has been amazing over the last year. And just seeing our clients come through, make the shifts, 2Xing their sales and taking 10 or more hours off per week has been incredible. If you feel the pull, if you're kind of like, yeah, Ursula, I've been wanting to come, I've been wondering about it, you can go to ursulainc.co/apply. And there's a quick little page to fill out. It takes you like 3 minutes max, probably like 1 minute for my fast typer. Send us your information and we'll schedule some time to chat about it. What I can tell you is that it's a shifter. It shifts your beliefs about time and creating the revenue expansion that you've been dreaming about. So if you feel the pull, fill out the application, we'll get some time on the calendar with you. All right, I think I got all the things, Melissa. So we're going to dive in.
All right. Yes.
I love this podcast so much. I just want to say that it's just so much fun. Melissa, you're just an amazing soul. I love how you show up in the world. You always bring light to everything you do in our community and how you support people. Melissa Swink is the founder of Melissa Swink and Company. She's a business and time management consultant, a speaker and trainer who is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs save time and make more money.
Yes.
That's why we're so excited to have you. Melissa and her team of dedicated virtual assistants also provide administrative, marketing, and social media support to business owners. She believes in the importance of maximizing work time so there's more space for other priorities in life. She's not a coach, and that's what sets her apart. And she does amazing things. So, but you have that mindset of a coach. You have that mindset of that quantum revenue growth. So let's start with your story, Melissa. Tell us how did you end up in this amazing world, this very needed world right now that we live in of virtual assistants?
Sure, absolutely. So I have always been on a somewhat alternative path in life. So for instance, after high school, and I was an honor student in high school, and pretty much the rest of my peers went straight to, a university, 4-year college. That was the path that we were all on, I deviated from that path actually and ended up working a full-time job and attending college during the evenings. So so I was on the 7-year plan. So I worked a full-time job. I started as an office assistant, and then I got another position that was operations and logistics. And I worked in that position for about 7 years at a building materials company here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's where I'm from. And during that time, of course, we were in the housing market crash in 2008. So that was a rough time to be in that type of industry. So on one hand, it was very helpful for me to have survived a lot of layoffs during that time, but I enjoyed the work that I was doing less and less during that time. So just found myself in a role that was not a good fit for me. Morale, of course, was really low. There was a lot of, troubled waters that we had gone through. And I just got to a point where I knew I needed to do something else. It was just time to step away. And there weren't a lot of opportunities at the company at that time because, again, we're in survival mode, right?
Right.
So 2012 rolled around and I saved up a little bit of money and gave my 2-week notice. And that was extremely uncommon at that company. Like they were all lifers there. So, of course, unless they were laid off or they retired, you just stayed there forever. So I jumped off the island and people kept asking me, well, where are you going? What are you going to be doing? And I didn't have any answers for them. I just said, I'm not sure what's next for me. I just want to do something different. And really what I was looking for was more time freedom, more autonomy in my life. So actually my first week of being jobless, I met a business consultant who invited me to assist him on a process improvement project with a company he was working with in the area. And I say that, when I tell this story, I highlight that because really, if there's one common theme of my entrepreneurial journey, it's been that the right opportunities have always shown up at the right time. So here I am, like in my mid-20s, and just like, I don't have a job. I quit my job and the economy's not great and I don't have a plan. And, something led me to purchase a ticket to that luncheon that my local chamber of commerce put on. Something led me to sit next to that gentleman at the table. And I just happened to be the perfect person with that skill set he needed for this job that he was working on. So when I was working on that process improvement project, I was introduced to the concept of a virtual assistant. I had never heard of it before. And I immediately knew that was the solution to so many of the challenges that business owners were facing because, in my work with the consulting project, it just became very apparent that these people knew what they wanted to be doing. They knew what they should be doing. There just weren't enough hours in the day to do it. And they couldn't necessarily justify hiring a formal employee. So in August of 2012, I decided to start a virtual assistant business. I'm like, this is perfect. And, again, opportunities came together and I attended a networking function and met the owner of a co-working space in our area. And he was like, you really need to come down to our space because there are a ton of freelancers and business owners who need your help. So that was really the start of the business.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And
thank you.
I love what you shared too, that you followed the path of what I would call synchronicity, of the right opportunity showing up, of stepping into what you wanted. And you had to step away from a paycheck where you could have been a lifer as well. Like that was safe. And yet there was something in you that said, I'm meant for more. I'm not surprised you're an honor student. Like I would have guessed that. And I love that you took a different path because I feel like students today we're forcing everyone into a box that doesn't fit. Where is our entrepreneurial school? Anyway, that's a whole other topic. But
yes, I agree.
And look at where you are. So I just want to highlight that. You said the right opportunities have always shown up at the right time. And I think for our listeners out there, that happens when you have a clear goal or at least a knowing of what you want next. And so when you went to the co-working space, Melissa, did you have your website set up? So your business was up and running at that point, right? So
sort of. I had a business plan and I made a business card. I think that was about as far as I had gotten. And I was pretty clueless at that point. I needed to figure out, making a contract, and then do I invoice people, at the end of a month? How do they pay me? It was just all the little logistics that I pretty much built the plane as I was flying it. So yeah, just, you know what? Google is only a search away. You can find so much information with just the search of a button. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that because, there was a day before email, cell phones, like people, there were no websites at one time, right? And so we
Right.
can make up a lot of boundaries and blocks that maybe don't exist. So I think that's a great lesson. Like wherever you are in business right now is perfect. Just keep going. Like don't get stuck on I should be like this, or I should be ahead, or I should. No, don't
Right.
let the shoulds go and just go from where you are today. So okay, so many things. All right. So think of a moment in your business. I know you've been on this moment. You have a lot of momentum in your business right now, and it's expanding, and you're adding new clients. And to me, it sounds like you have a list of prospects who are waiting to get appointments with you, which is very exciting, right? Just managing all this, you're growing your company, you're growing your team, lots is happening.
Yep.
Was there a moment when your annual income became your monthly income, or a moment where there was more money at the end of the month than bills that needed to go out? Where you're just like, yes, this is happening. The business that I wanted when I started it is happening. Tell us about that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just backtracking a bit, I worked on my own for about the first 6 years of my business. And so, my DIY is very ingrained in our family. Like I said, I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. We're Midwesterners here. There's a lot of, hard work, put your nose to the grindstone, get it done. So I was DIY for the first 6 years of my business before I started building the team. So really at that point, and during those years, I had very low overhead because it was, maybe pay for a software subscription here or there, but I worked on my own. So as I started to really look at growing and scaling the business, that requires investment. I mean, I had to really shift from and be willing to invest in putting systems in place, purchasing software for me and my team members, and also building the team. So, when I look at when my, monthly income became, or my annual income became my monthly income, I would say, so we hit that pretty much in May of this year, if I'm looking strictly, dollar amounts.
Yeah.
So that was really exciting for us. And we've been doing a lot of investing since then because I want to continue to grow in a scalable and sustainable way.
Yes.
So I kind of liken it to, working on going from a 2-lane highway to an expressway. So we've been investing in more systems, more team members. We're a team of 11, including myself now. So going from on my own to a team of 11 has been huge. Yes, awesome. But I mean, even for me personally, I'm actually working fewer hours than I was in the past. So I probably work about 25 to 30 hours a week right now, which is great. I have a 7-year-old daughter. So I pretty much log in once she gets on the bus in the morning and log out when it's time to get her off the bus in the afternoon. I don't work evenings. I don't work weekends unless I want to, if there's a project that I'm excited about and I want to work on. But that's been a big difference because, back in the very first version of my business model, it was trading dollars for hours. And I see that with a lot of my clients, and I'm sure some of your listeners can resonate with that, where I was really stuck in that trap of I can only make as much money as the number of hours that I can work. And when you have young children at home, that's really hard, especially during this season of COVID, where you can find yourself in quarantine, in a minute. So that's been huge. And then also just having that flexibility now where we aren't, stretched so tight where, we have enough to pay our bills and not a whole lot of extra. As the business has grown, especially in the last year, we're enjoying a lot more hobbies now as a family and individuals. I started a book club earlier this year, and that's been really fun to just get out and connect with other people, especially since I work from home. It's good to get out. started taking dance lessons over the summer. So that's been really fun. My family, my husband and my daughter are on a bowling league. So there's been a lot of fun stuff that has come as a reward from growing this business alongside investing in it for the long haul.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's beautiful to have that equal amount or, close to of I'm getting my time back. How am I going to spend it?
Yeah.
And because that has a domino effect. Like when you start to have fun in your business again, it affects everything. And of course, that's what you do for your clients. You give them their time back. And so I want to really key in on that. What was the biggest myth about money and revenue that you had to overcome? And, you talked about growing up in the Midwest. You and I, of course, have shared that. Growing up and a lot of those beliefs. Go Packers, by the way. Luke is a Packers fan. I am not. Anyway, Packers fan.
Right. Yeah, we have to give a shout out to the Packers for sure.
Oh my gosh, right? And growing up with some of those values of I have to work really hard. I'm sure you're going to outpace a lot of people in your community in terms of how much money you're going to be making. It's like a different world. So for our listeners, share what was the biggest myth about money and revenue you had to overcome, and how have you overcome that, and how will you continue to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually my parents were both business owners as I was growing up as well. And they did everything themselves. They never ended up hiring employees or team members or anything. They were just, if you want it done right, you do it yourself. And so that's where I started. And so again, like I had said, I was basically trading dollars for hours, like working, doing administrative work, marketing work for business owners. And I actually went to a retreat back in March of 2018. And the coach who was running the retreat at the time said, can you double your hours if you want to double your income? And I was like, that would be crazy. Like, it just made me nauseous thinking about it. And then it occurred to me that I had this idea that, the more money that I wanted to make, the harder that I would have to work. So I just was sitting in this comfort zone of like, this is good enough. We can pay our bills. I'm just going to stay here because I don't want all that responsibility that comes with having a big, sizable business. So that was definitely a myth that I had to overcome, was that, the more revenue means more work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big one for me. And I don't think that this is necessarily a myth, but it's something that definitely showed up for me. And I hear clients talk about this and colleagues of mine in other industries is, having a fear of paying taxes was something like, I'm like, oh, if I keep my income under this, I know that my tax bill will be that. And that seems like a doable number for me. It's like kind of subconsciously like stayed around that level. Like, this is my comfort zone. I don't want to go outside of that comfort zone. So, but yeah, I think, if you learn to manage your money well in your business, the tax thing isn't really an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. In fact, we were talking about that yesterday, right? At the CEO team, Rebecca was talking about how to maximize your tax advantage and really how to use all those advantages. Right. I definitely keep thinking I want to have someone on the podcast to talk about that, because
I agree.
You're right, for sure.
I agree. I know a lot of women who purposely will only make a certain amount because, they're afraid of risking something once they go over a certain amount, whatever that amount is for them. I've also had clients in the past where they're maybe on Social Security disability, and, they know that if they make more than a certain dollar amount, those benefits go away. So there's just a lot of, sometimes outside factors that we just need to be brave and step forward and not be afraid to let go of that ledge.
Yeah, I love that. Let's let go. So talking, going in that direction, what are your top two tips for busting through an income ceiling? And you've been busting, you keep busting through an income ceiling. So what would you say to someone who's, at 5,000 a month and wants to bust through 10,000, or that 10,000 and they want to bust through 15,000 or more?
Sure. Absolutely. So there's a couple of really key things that I did, in addition to building the team and having a more scalable business model, like we talked about. I think also just reevaluating my packages and my pricing and putting together some higher end offers. When I was only offering virtual assistant services, we were charging, the appropriate amount that would be like a bookkeeper or graphic designer or something like that for those services. But then when I started offering some consulting services as well, it was strategy work that I was already doing with my clients. I guess kind of not for free, but at a VA rate, I started looking at that like this is a value that somebody is willing to pay for. So, I started offering some strategy sessions. I also have a 90-day program that I offer. So, see if you can find a way to package your services a little bit differently. Maybe turn your services into some type of a course or package or something like that. I think having higher end offers has been huge. The other thing that I would recommend is connecting with other businesses that are complementary to your own. So for instance, I'm collaborating with an accountant, a CPA, who I don't get into, the taxes and some of the money strategies and things with my clients. And she certainly doesn't get into the administrative and some marketing support that our team offers too. So it's a perfect match because we work with similar people in different ways. And those collaborations have been huge.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And so you get through the income ceiling, you bust through. What are your tips for, or do you believe it's possible to stay in that next level of energy frequency, or what has helped you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the most part, we have stayed in those frequencies. We haven't had drastic fluctuations in the business, which has been really good. I guess piggybacking on with the last question, having recurring revenue is huge for that.
Yeah.
But, and being fully transparent, we hit our highest month ever back in May of this year, May of 2021.
Mhm.
And then we kind of dropped down a little bit in July and August. Those were slower months for us. But once we had hit that new high for us, we found that there were some clients that we were working with and some services that we were offering that just weren't in alignment with where we were headed. So we gracefully as possible let some of those go. And then we were on the track to rebuild. So September was back up. And then last month we had our newest record month, which was great. So it was a temporary setback, but it was something that we were willing to do. And it was a conscious decision that we made. But I think once you're in that energy, it's absolutely possible to stay within that energy.
Yeah. That's one of the things we talk a lot about the CEO table, right? Is this idea that when you take a quantum leap, there might be this big jump and then there might be a going back or what I call a cleaning up, right? Releasing clients that aren't a good fit, or you talked about packages and prices and really up leveling that, because if you don't create the space for it, it can't happen. And for a lot of our listeners all over the world, I'm guessing that there are clients that aren't a fit for you anymore. Like you're just out of frequency, you're out of alignment with them. And you know that when it starts to feel off, they don't appreciate your services, they're not following your direction. They always want something different. They're like, well, what about this? It's like, that's not what I do. That is not what I do. Yeah. So anything else you want to share about maybe how it's been helpful to be in community with other CEOs, or just your journey over the last 6 or 8 months? Anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. Being part of the CEO table program has been huge for me because even though I do consulting with other business owners and I offer those services, being able to take a look at your own business and see opportunities that are there or ways to improve what you're already doing. It's like reading the label from inside the bottle. So it's definitely helpful. It's definitely helpful to have that outside perspective from, coaches and other CEOs. That's been hugely beneficial for me. It's definitely caused me to stretch and think about, how I can be doing things differently.
Yeah. And I love it. How did you say that? Reading the bottle from the inside?
Reading the label from inside the bottle.
Oh my gosh, that's so quotable. I'm just, Lauren, that's so quotable. So when we go through this, like that's got to go somewhere. That's so good, Melissa, or on one of the things that you're going to be quoted for, because I don't care how great of a coach or a CEO or whatever you are, like we can't see our own stuff. I mean, I talk about this all the time. I'm in so many, I need a coach for it. I need a coach for everything.
Everything is right in front of our faces right now. You can't see it.
Parenting, coaching, business coaches, life coaches. writing coaches. I mean, for me, it's a hack. Like if I want to get something done fast, it's like, I just need to find the right coach who can help me pull me to that next level. And that's how we stay fresh. Right. And Melissa, I know, that, I've heard from many of the CEOs in the CEO table who really appreciate what you share there. And that's the other richness, right? Is when we're in community together and we can share like what's working, what's not working. Like even thinking about this week, it was really cool to see the marketing ideas that everyone's just like, this is what I'm doing. And I think everyone's like copy.
Everyone jumped on the bandwagon. We're like, yes, that's what we need to be doing. Absolutely. Yeah. And, the other thing too, when I was, thinking about joining the CEO table program, of course I had a lot of fears in the back of my mind, like, what if I can't pay for this every month? Like, what if all my clients disappear and then, I can't afford it? And all these things, those were the only negatives that I had on my list when I'm looking at a pro and con list. But then the pros, it was, in order to scale my business, we're working on scaling to multi six figures at this point. I realized that there was no one around me who had a business of that size. And that was a huge indicator of me, like, I don't have anybody to turn to in my circle who has done this. And I love the people that are in my circle dearly, but none of them could show me the way to make that happen. And then I also looked at it from an opportunity of, I have all these people who are on my team. I have all these clients that we're working with. It's a responsibility that I have to them to continue to grow, because, that's also benefited them in so many ways, not only financially, but even just, looking at how we can help them improve their businesses as well.
Yeah. And we've gotten to meet some of your team and they're amazing, like you. And, it's a great point of, am I the biggest fish in this pond?
Right.
Because the second you are, your business has stalled out. Like you've got to be, I've always placed myself, like I'm in groups now where the business owners are at, 8 figures. I want to be around that thought process. That's a different thought process. Like, what are you thinking about? What does that look like? And then from there, where are they going next? So like, look around who you're swimming with, find those people. And it's so funny you say that. I had the exact same thoughts. We all do. We share this part of us that, our brain is trained to look for the negative, right? Our brain is trained to look for safety. It's to keep. So of course, it's like when you invest in a big program, or for me, like multiple big programs, and for you, multiple programs and multiple investments, it's normal to have that. Like, how am I get, like, what if my business is gone tomorrow, right? We go to the extreme of like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and this, and we know that's not true, but it's important to evaluate that. And what I'm learning, the thing I keep seeing, it's just like what you're doing right now. When I invest in opportunities that are in alignment with me, the business shows up, the clients show up. Like when I'm living in purpose, it's like, I'm not even focusing on the numbers. Like we have the goals, right? You have the goal, but you're so involved in the excitement and the purpose and the passion of what's going on with your clients and the opportunities that it's like, you're not staring at that financial goal. Cause I think people can feel like that. Instead, you're just in the energy of it's already happening. It's already here. And that's what I see for you. And I also, I know you talked about working on multi 6 figures. You're definitely sitting on 7 figures. And I know, that. And I think it's just really up to you how fast you want to get there. Like my 8-year-old, I know you have a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, he studies cars and he's like, every day he's like, Mom, what's the fastest car? Mom, he's looking at Bugattis. I think that's what it is, one of the most expensive cars in the world. Like that's the car he wants now. And he's like, how much faster is that car? And it makes me think of this, right? Like what's the vehicle that we're going to get there in? And then how fast do we want to get there? Because the other belief is that it's going to be like, I'm going to have to work more. And what you're sharing is the opposite is true. Right. And that's what you help your business owners do. You help them get the team around them so they can work from 8 to 2 or whatever the numbers are and be done for the day. So many things. I want you to just give us your final rant, like a CEO who's listening out there, who needs some encouragement. Maybe he's having a tough week. Maybe they're having a great week and they're ready for the next level. Like what do you want to share with them?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest things that have made a difference from the very first version of my business to where I'm at today, I would almost call it like 3.0 at this point. Yes. I just had this thought that I wanted a small and manageable business. And I see that with a lot of women business owners, particularly. But the challenge is that small manageable business managed me, because I had far less freedom back then. I mean, every dollar counted and every minute counted. And I mean, I was chained to it.
Yes. That needs to go in a book or something, or like put it up on your social media. So say that again. So
Yeah,
you
my
wanted to
small
manage
manageable business
all
got to a
manageable.
point where it managed me.
Oh my gosh. That's it.
Mhm.
And so what would you say to someone who's like, oh my God, like that is me right now. What do I do?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think it's about finding ways to grow your business beyond your own capacity. And really that came back to, for me, creating leverage through, investing in systems, software to take some of the workload off of my plate. I mean, I remember when paying, $10 a month for software felt like a big commitment. I just sat there like, am I sure I can't just use Excel to do this? No.
Yeah.
And then getting to that point where, I started building a team. And I have a blog, on my website that talks in detail about, how I was able to afford a team, because I was still in that mode at that point where my family depended on every dollar that came in. So really the way that just the really short version of that blog is that I went out and I found 2 more clients that I knew that I did not have the time to devote to, working with them directly. And I turned around and I hired 2 team members and took 100% of those funds and purchased time with those team members. And then I just kept adding from there. That's really the shortcut version of how I was able to make those numbers work. But that's been huge, creating the leverage and then working as a team. And then you're going to find out, how much more you can accomplish and how many people that you can serve, with the business as you start sharing, what you've built with other people.
Beautiful. Wow. Oh my gosh. So many quotable moments. So many good things. And thank you for everything that you shared today. And for our listeners, I know there's going to be listeners out there who are like, okay, this is my sign. I'm supposed to hire a virtual assistant. My coach has told me to hire a virtual assistant. I don't know how to do that, or I have a team and I've outgrown them. So 2 things. First, tell us about your gift, your free gift that's on your website that everyone can download. And then second, the best way to find you, or if someone wants to schedule a strategy session or a consultation with you, how could they do that, Melissa?
Sure, absolutely. So my website is melissaswink.com. I think we'll probably put that in the show notes, but it's MELISSASWINK.com. So it's just my name. It's very, very easy. And we have buttons all over the place to book a consultation call with me. So you'll see that right on the front of the website. Would love to talk with you. And I always tell people, even if you're not sure if our team is the right fit, book a call, because if I can't help you, I'm always happy to connect you with somebody who can. So this is not an arm twisting, let's try to figure out how to make this fit. Not at all. So go ahead and reach out to me, book a call with me so we can chat. But I do have a free resource on my website. You'll see it right on the top, which is my guide to cut your hours in half and double your income. And it really walks through a few key exercises of getting clear on, where you need to be spending your time in your business as a CEO, not a worker bee, where I started and where so many people started. But then taking a look at, are there maybe services or products or clients that aren't a fit? It walks through, some ideas for, simplifying and automating the processes that you're doing on a repeatable basis, a day in and day out basis, and taking a look at some opportunities for getting team members involved in helping you, take some of the workload off your plate. So I have that free guide available as well for anybody who wants to check that out.
And that free guide is also on your website?
Yep. It's on my website. It's melissaswink.com/more.
/more. And
you can find that.
We'll have that in the show notes as well. I'm assuming you submitted that. Okay, great. And
Okay.
for anyone, obviously, if you want to cut your dollars, is that what you said? Cut your
time in half.
Time in half and double your
dollars. Yes. We don't want to cut dollars.
I was like, I think that's wrong order. Cancel. Cut your time in half and double your income. Who doesn't want?
Yes.
I mean, all of you. It's quantum revenue expansion. So definitely book your time with Melissa, download her free gift. And where do you hang out on social media? So if someone's like, oh, I'm really interested and I want to follow her, where do they find you?
Absolutely. I'm on the 3 big platforms. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and I look forward to connecting with everybody there.
Awesome. Melissa, thank you for being on the Quantum Revenue Expansion podcast. Love having you. We wish you so much success. We wish you your 7-figure plus business.
Yes, me too.
It's coming. And to our listeners all over the world, thanks for hanging out. I'm sure you love Melissa and all our guests. If you did, definitely leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to the show. If there's anything we can do for you, if you know of a guest you'd love to have on the show, you can email us at contact@ursulainc.co. That's it for this week, everybody.
Yes.
Have a good week, ever.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. And if you are ready to make your next quantum leap, let's do it. Ursula invites you to join us at the 2X Intensive. Go to salescoachnow.com/apply. Don't forget to leave us a review on your favorite podcast app.